All right. Okay. So, welcome everyone who might be joining today. I think it's important to give an update. So, this is the update of what I've been doing the last 2 days, which is basically getting a business plan together. Really, to the importance of a business plan, at least at this stage, is it serves so many things, right? It can be as a document internally for a company. So, everyone can be part of that creation. There's different ways to do it, going top down from management through to everyone on the team, or going bottom up from team up to management. All of these are really important reflections that need to go into the business plan so everyone can see where they're going, so that's really important for a business. When it comes to, let's say, just as one person on an organization or a company, getting a good business plan is that goal. It's that focus that we're aiming for, and getting a clear vision on how to get from here to there and what are the steps along the way. Understanding what are the strengths of the team or your specific skill set, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats or the risks, how to mitigate those risks. What are the contingencies in place? What are the opportunities that one can sort of take those opportunities, or some people call it exploiting those opportunities. And that all helps shape a business plan. So the last 24 hours I've been, and I'll show you a really good book. This is a book called The Business Plan by Richard Stutley. This is an awesome book that I've been using. I used that many years ago as well to write business plans. This is the revised second edition. Hasn't really changed that much, but it's still a nice sort of companion. I thought he's got it nicely set out. So there are these fast tracks, but as I was sort of speed reading through the chapters, it became really interesting to sort of, there's sort of bits that started getting my mind thinking, sort of phrases and ways to think and elements to put in. And I thought, okay, let's just take this a bit slower and really go through it. And you know what? It's a really valuable process to really get that insight, do the research, see who are the competitors, see what the market is. And it's really helped me shape, understand the market, understand the competitors, see where my market position is. Doing a business plan is invaluable. It really, I think what's the best way to say that? I think expect the best, plan for the worst, and you've got a greater chance of success. But there's another great quote that Richard uses, and it sort of focuses around the difference between making just a brief plan and doing something that's sort of really well considered. Because once you've gone through a well considered plan with all the different elements in there, then you can go back and you might realize that you want to sort of adjust your strategy to integrate those the risk mitigations that you've got there, or the ways to tap the opportunity and the strategy to get there. So a business plan is really, really invaluable. And of course, if you're going to go for funding, fundraising, grants, going to other businesses to support your project, then you're going to need a business plan, full stop. End of story. So I've been focused on that. I'm getting I've got a deadline that I need to get, but what I realize as I'm going through this, it's not just the deadline that I need to get. I actually need to submit a week before that, and I need to make sure that it's well written, well presented, it's got the details in there, and that's really helped me focus. What's going to be the next step the second that business plan is in my hand. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to follow it 100%, because new information might come along the way, and then you have to adapt, or you have to adopt a slightly different strategy. But once you've gone through creating one, you've got a whole series of options. And if you're going to go so really what I've been working on right now is the first step of the magic truck vision. So let me put it into context. The magic truck vision, if you've seen it off the website, it's really a collection of technologies to be able to convert waste streams into money. So basically being able to tap the value of money, convert them into something that's profitable, make money from that. And the technologies is something that I've been working on for years, way back when. So this was back in 2008. No, so correction, 2009, 10, when really I was distributing technologies out in Indonesia under my wife's business at the time. And we were getting technologies for waste recycling, but large scale. So companies would buy the technology and then they would charge other companies. So their business model was to charge other businesses to collect that waste, process it, and then they would do whatever they would do with it, not necessarily turn the waste into money or recycle it or repurpose the materials. So there's some other sort of proposals that we put forward to the government. And what we realized at some point, because through I had a foundation out there as well, and what we realized was working with the locals is that the locals didn't really care about what the government was doing, and that wouldn't affect their behavior. And so, even though there's legislation out in Indonesia, enforcing can become really quite impossible. So locals would still take their rubbish, tie it up into a bag, throw everything inside, and then just dump it or burn it round the corner. And so that wasn't really going to stop the negative impact to the environment. So what I decided at the time was, or the solution that I came up with at the time was, we need to have solutions that can convert these separate waste streams into money so that they can be purchased, either the resources or that people can make money instead of throwing or burning them. That to me seemed to be the only solution, and the technologies need to be small enough. So as you can imagine, and I was diving deep into the rubbish pits, into the dump sites. I also set up a waste collection service, and so I was collecting from some sort of villas and some sort of private residents, and getting really to understand what the waste scenario was. And that was really important to see what type of waste was being created, what was being thrown, what could we do with it, and how could we then take those resources and convert them into money, right? Because waste isn't really waste, it's actually resources that are wasted, and they're actually, they can turn into something quite valuable. And that's what I was researching. So right now the magic truck so it took how many years, and I was flying around the world to different countries, meeting different companies, checking their technology. And really it was taking the best of those technologies and some that I consulted on to say, look, this is actually what we need. And so those technologies are now available, and they've been around for over 5 years, which is perfect. And they've been tested for over 5 years. So now what I want to do is put those onto a truck, right? And then send that truck around, east to west of Nepal or along the Ganges in India. I mean, just the project that we were doing up there was pretty awesome. So this is a truck which will be more like a magic show, and that actually be able to take resources and pay people for those clean and dry, separated and segregated resources. Awesome, right? With a view that the communities could buy technologies to convert. So this is a project that I've been working on for a long time. And what that basically means now is what I'm looking to do is get funding for that. I've sort of that's when I was out there sort of last year. I was intending to come back and do the fundraising, etc. And now I've got two options. So I'm going to work on the first technology, right? And that's creating a washing unit to be able to convert cigarette filters, to clean cigarette filters, so that they could then be repurposed for being used back into the industry. And cigarette filters are actually a form of plastic called cellulose acetate. And that cellulose acetate is actually a really valuable material, and it's used in so many different industries. Of course, the tobacco, you've got fabrics in the fire industry, you've got the opticians in the glasses frames industry, and I particularly want to convert those into sunglasses. So this is a great opportunity, right? And actually making that technology is like actually creating the shovel for the gold rush, because now, when I was doing this back in 2017, there was only one company in the whole world that was actually doing something with cigarette butts. Maybe there was another company which actually came out not too far after them. They may have been doing research, so it just wasn't obvious. So one or two companies across the globe working with cigarette filters. And when I went to see them, they were using these really sort of, sort of industrial solvents they were importing into India, and it's horrendous for the environment. So I helped create a system. So we did a lot of videos around a process, environmentally friendly process, and that was like back in 2017. So I've come back to it now, and I'm finding that other people are working on the on the same thing. So they're coming up with the solution. I'm going, okay, well they've got. I can see what they're doing. Yes, they're on the right path. They can do it. So that's really cool. So more and more people are going to do that. So now, being well ahead of the curve, I want to create a washing machine. So it's actually a washing unit that we can clean and repurpose those cigarette filters, and then we can do something more with that, because they can actually become really valuable. And with that economy, right, so there's two things that I've got an opportunity for, is to make the machine, which is stage one, and to number two, actually set up my own recycling business. I would like to focus on number one, but I feel that I'm going to need to set up number two as well. But really, it needs to be sort of this model is to help out other people with being able to capture cigarette filters. Why? Because if that's the focus, then we can more rapidly spread across the globe with the one technology, get known for that, and then come out with a sequence of technologies and build up to that magic truck, and actually go beyond the magic truck to a really grand vision, which is a Disneyland of these technologies. And I say Disneyland like of these technologies, where the roads are made from pretty awesome materials, recycled, upcycled materials. I'll explain what the difference between upcycled and recycled is. Recycled is, let's say you take a plastic bag, it gets sold, goes out to market, comes back, then gets converted back into the raw material, or back into a plastic bag. That's recycling. Upcycling is taking the material from that plastic bag, so when it comes back in, it then gets converted into another product that sort of innovates in another industry. And that's really, if one's going to align with, if I want to align this project, which of course I do, with the big companies who have access to the virgin source, the circular economy here is to innovate the product to innovate new products with these materials, instead of actually competing with the existing virgin stream of resources. So that's where I'm at. And what was the point of that? That was a deterrent that I needed to explain. The recycling, the upcycling that's right. So we've got the roads, the bricks of the building, the actual technology on top of the building. Doing it all from pretty state-of-the-art tech, state-of-the-art tech that actually is really quite awesome to see. Because when we think of rubbish and waste, it is an ugly business, and what you get from that is actually quite ugly. But when you see resources and they're clean and dry resources that can last hundreds of years. Now all of a sudden you're working with a very different product and a different material, and you can create some pretty awesome things. And that's what I've been working on for the last so many years as part of the Trash to Cash program. So I'm putting that down into a plan. And even with all of that experience and knowledge that I've gained doing these projects over the last 13 years, the technology, meeting companies, meeting scientists, pioneers, engineers, developing technologies or adapting their technology to our use, it's now great to do a business plan coming back full circle, because you really can get a chance to see, okay, well, where's the market at now? What's the competition like? Well, and it's being open and understanding, are there legs in this product? What are the risks that could make this work or not, or fail? And therefore understanding, well, therefore, what would I do if that actually happened? And having some thought or strategy to that. So making a business plan is actually really, really important for a successful business. So that's the step, and that's where I'm at the moment. So great. Well, that's it. It's just a short video tonight. I've been on phone calls as well, talking to people, connecting with old friends, and it's actually been really exciting. So, but it's been taking me to the wee hours of the morning, and waking up very early and going to bed very late. It's all fun, It's not a day's work if you're enjoying what you're doing. If you love what you do, it's not work, right? Okay, great. Cool. So let me know what you're up to. Put some comments down into the comment bar. Are you working on a business plan? What are you doing? You don't have to share anything if it's copyright or if you're worried someone will take your idea. But yeah, getting a business plan together for achieving that goal and seeing your strategy to get to that is absolutely key. All right. I'm Alan Bywaters with Green Stars. This has been a pleasure to share this with you today. Join me tomorrow on the next video.